that's like in competitions, whether it's like competing for some sort of trophy or a championship and they don't win and like, they're sitting there beating themselves up. I think this is the verse for them.
You want me to read this one?
Yeah, your turn.
All right. So starting at verse 11. I have observed something else under the sun. The fastest runner doesn't always win the race, and the strongest warrior doesn't always win the battle. The wise sometimes go hungry, and the skillful are not necessarily wealthy. And those who are educated don't always lead successful lives. It is all decided by chance, by being in the right place at the right time. People can never predict when hard times might come. Like fish in a net or birds in a trap, people are caught by sudden tragedy. Oof.
Yeah.
All right. So these are some of the notes that I got on this section. The teacher here begins to bring up the concept of misfortune. Here, the teacher clearly lays out that just because one may do the right thing or be in the right place, that does not always mean the right things will happen to him. It seems that the teacher within this book has examined all the negative exceptions within life and has realized that it almost measures up to the rule. So what I mean by that is that I feel like right here, if you were to compile a whole bunch of statistics,
Yeah.
and then you were to literally compile within all those statistics all the exceptions, they would seem like they would almost measure up to the broad like what the statistics are basically trying to go against. Does that make sense?
So like break that down a little bit.
So what I mean by this is like, let's say for example, if you are disciplined and you raise your kids with principles, they will turn out to be really good kids.
Proverbs, yeah.
Proverbs, right? But even while doing that, your kid can end up being a crackhead.
Okay, so they would be the exception.
They would be that kid end up being a crackhead, even though you as a parent did everything perfect. You raised them well, you disciplined them, you didn't abuse them, you showed them love, you showed them care, you showed them attention, you showed them patience. You did everything right as a parent as you possibly could, but yet your child is still disrespectful, still, whatever it is, doing drugs, gang banging, skipping school, not trying to get a career, all that bad stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
He would be the exception.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is right here, it seems that if you were to pile up all the exceptions in each category, it seems like they like level out. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not saying it literally does, but I would say I feel like that's somewhat of the picture that he's slowly painting right here.
Like the exceptions are equivalent to the
There's
good.
so many exceptions to the point where it's almost equal to the majority. Does that make sense?
So it's like a false majority then, in that case, almost.
Basically.
Like where it's saying like it doesn't matter if you have a plan because all plans go awry at some point.
What I'm saying is that basically you might have a plan, but all it takes is one bad day for that plan to mess up.
Yeah, and now it's an exception. Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you literally could not even be in control. Like it could be outside of your control and it just happens to you. I mean, I guess a perfect example of that would be Job.
Sure.
I mean, we know everything that happened to Job. Dude lost his family, lost his health, lost his money, lost his livestock, lost his house. The dude couldn't even sleep without getting tormented.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So what happened to him is horrible. That's a misfortune.
Yeah. Yeah. I look at it as like this verse is an answer to a lot of people when they're like, I had all my dominoes lined up correctly and the dominoes were falling. And then at some point, for some reason, one domino just like fell the wrong way. And I don't know what else I could have done. And like they feel like a failure because their work did not succeed in like whatever they wanted to. And like, hey, you may be concerned with who is the best here, but you might be more concerned about winning than who is the best even. Which is interesting because winning and being the best is not the same as what this verse says.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah. If I think that if I win a basketball championship that I'm the best basketball player, this verse is telling me that may not necessarily be true. because the best don't always win. So if I am pursuing a hobby or something and my only goal is to win, I'm going to be in trouble. If my goal is to be the best whatever I want to be, I can achieve that. I can be the best of whatever, but it will not always be winning, because that's what this says. This says chance things happen. The best people don't always win. It's like if you have people playing chess and you have somebody who's way better than the other guy, right? He will end up winning most of the time because he is the best.
Yeah.
But every now and again, something's going to happen. There's going to be a chance error. Like a mistake will happen, because mistakes happen, and the lesser player will win. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that that lower player is now the best player. So it's an encouragement to not beat yourself up if you don't end up seeing yourself at the top of whatever hierarchy you're competing in, but to continue to hone your own craft at the same time.
Because there is a chance that you could be at the top.
Like, you might still be the best person, even with or without winning, right? You cannot guarantee winning, but you can try to guarantee being the best you that you can be for it. That's a lot more sure goal. It's a better goal. Because a lot of people like winning. I know that. Like, people get addicted to that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you just try to be the best you, like, you may still end up winning. And that's great. Like, you will increase your chances for winning if you make yourself the best at something. But if you just obsess about winning, you'll end up burning yourself more than enjoying what you're doing.
That's really good. I really like the way you broke that down. Because that's like also like really applicable to like, I feel like people in everyday life.
Rise and grinders. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because when you put it like that, like, yeah, it is probably better to just focus on yourself and just try to do better than yourself rather than constantly looking for the next person to be better than. Because honestly, when you think about that though, like even the people who do that are like, they don't really seem satisfied.
There you go. Yeah, the hunger. Yeah.
You know, like I always like, I can't remember what basketball players it was, or like I think Michael Jordan might be one.
Okay.
To where like he won like, 6 championships, NBA championships, but like he was still hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or like they just needed more. And it's like when is
Where have you heard that?
enough?
Where have you heard that? You heard that in chapter 1?
What chapter?
Ecclesiastes chapter 1. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah,
that's what you're
right.
walking right into it, Stino.
Oh snap! You're 100% right.
Yeah.
The eye is always seeing, and the ear is always hearing.
Never filled. Yeah.
Yeah,
Eyes
never
filled
filled
with seeing. The ears never filled with hearing. The stomach is never filled. You are always hungry.
Yeah, your desires are always grasping towards something. Ooh, we spitting bars out here?
Yeah.
Snap, dude. You heard that, man?
So you got to look out to like what you're aligning your goals with.
Yeah. That's pretty good, dude.
Yeah.
Dang, that's deep.
Now,
and then that kind of adds to Jesus when he's talking about guard your eye or guard your heart. Dude, we out here preaching a little bit, man. Dang.
It is a Bible podcast.
Dude, that is good, man. Sheesh. Man. Because like when you think, and then like also when it says guard your thoughts, because like if you don't guard your thoughts, then like your thoughts can end up turning into words, and then your words can lead into actions. Actions then get turned into habits, and habits turn into lifestyles, which typically dictate your character.
There you go.
Which altered the whole course of your life.
Yeah.
But it all starts right there with your desires.
Mm-hmm.
And what's fascinating is that we're hearing this from a book that talks about how life is somewhat meaningless, or it's hevel, smoke, hard to understand. Hard to grasp, everything slipping through our fingers.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. And there's another aspect of this. Like, I haven't mentioned God in this cultural interpretation of this verse, but if you think about it, like, this verse also encourages you to, align your goal properly, but it also should be that, like, you're not trusting in your own strength at the same time. Now, it's not trying to be contradictory to what I'm saying. It's like, don't believe that you are the end-all, be-all in what you're doing, because guess what? The race is not always to the swift. Like, if you're getting, high off of your own hobby or whatever, just understand that, like, where this started in verse 1 is your works are not in your hands. Your works are in God's hands. And that's kind of what this is saying. I'm not trying to claim that God is the chance factor that's talking in here. It's saying you should not be taking your self-worth, your self-value, in your winning of something, because that can be stripped from you at any time, pretty much. And so you should still be looking to God for your validation for your actions on this earth. You don't need a trophy, man. You know, you need God's validation of the work ethic you put in to get that trophy. If you end up getting it, you know, you might not. You might just be happy with being a respected player, right?
It's all about that contentment.
Yeah.